Okay, let's take a look at the first question. 29. We have W plus 1 in parentheses, W plus 12 in the other parentheses. What did we learn this week? FOIL. Okay. We got the first, outer, inner, and last. So that means I'm going to take this W times that W. So that's going to give me W squared. Then I'm going to take this W with this 12. We're going to do the outer numbers. W times 12 is 12W. Then I'm going to go into the inner numbers. 1 times W is 1W. Then I have 1 times 12, the last numbers, and I get plus 12. From here, I have to add my like terms. And at the end, put it in standard form. I'm looking here, W squared. Is there any other W squares? No. So I can just write W squared. Here are my like terms. W with a 12 and W with a 1. 12 plus 1 is 13. So that becomes 13W. And what's left over is the plus 12. So your final answer in standard form. Remember what I'm saying, standard form, because you're going to have a quiz test question about putting things in standard form. Is this in standard form? W squared. This is invisible 1. And then this has no letter at the end. So it goes from the highest exponent down to the lowest exponent. So my final answer, W squared plus 13W plus 12. All right, the next problem. We're going to take a look at problem 31, which is written right there. What does this actually mean? It actually means 3R minus 2 and 3R minus 2. But there's an easier way to do that problem. You can always go back and do the FOIL method and get your answer, but we know the trick of doing this problem. This 2 goes with both of those. And we know we need to square the first number and the last number. But we're also going to have a middle number. So remember our rule, the trick that we came up with, is we have to take this 2 times this 3R. And so we're going to get 3 squared is 9. Oh, let me write this way, enough some room. 3 squared is 9. R squared is R squared. So we take this number and square it with the first one. To get the middle number, because there's a minus sign here, we know our answer is going to be minus. Now that we have a number in front of the letter, we have to take everything inside the parentheses and multiply it by 2, just like we did when there was not a number. So I'm going to take 2 times the 3R times the 2. Then for the last number, we're going to take negative 2 squared, which is plus 4. Negative 2 squared is negative 2 times negative 2. That's 4. So now I have to add, multiply all my like terms. So I'm going to come back and put 9R squared minus 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. And that becomes 12R plus 4. Making sure it is in standard form. The highest exponent down to the lowest exponent down to no exponent. So my final answer is 9r squared minus 12r plus 4. That's the final answer. With the trick knowing that you square the first number in the letter, square the last digit, and then we always multiply everything inside the parentheses by that power of 2. Like I was saying, you could still use the FOIL method with that problem. If I did 3r minus 2 and 3r minus 2, and I used the FOIL method, I would take this times that. I would get 9r squared. 3r times that would be negative 6r. These two multiply each other, gives me negative 6r. Negative 2 times negative 2 gives me positive 4. When I add my like terms, I need to put together those two. That would be 9r squared minus 12r plus 4. And I get the same answer. A little bit more work of doing it, but same thing. Minus 12r in the middle. Okay? So either way you can do it, but there's a trick to doing it with the squared binomial that we've learned how to do. But again, you can always revert back to the FOIL method if needed. We're going to take a look at number 40. Notice they're the same numbers inside here. The difference is the sign. A minus 3 and a plus 3. Because you have the same numbers, but the signs are different, there's no middle number. We're cutting out the middle man. So the only thing we're looking at are the numbers that are in the parentheses. And since there's two of them, we're going to square them, because we've always squared this number and the last number and usually multiply the other ones, but because these signs are different, they cancel out. So the only thing you need to do is take 4b and you're squaring it. So 4 squared is 16, b squared. Then I'm taking the 3. Because there is a minus sign in here, my answer is going to be minus. Then the only thing I'm going to do is minus 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. Is it in standard form, the highest exponent to the lowest exponent? B squared, and no letter, that's how you put it in. Okay, standard form. So my answer is 16 b squared minus 9. Now we're going to do number 40 one more time. Again, you can go back to the Old Faithful FOIL to do it. First numbers, so it's 4 times 4 is 16. B times B is b squared. Then I'm going to do the outers, 4b and 3. 4 times 3 is 12 with a b. And I'm going to do the inners. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12b. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Now I just have to add my like terms. These are my like terms. Notice you have a plus 12 and a minus 12. Opposite signs, they cancel out because negative 12 and 12 equals 0. What's my final answer? 16b squared minus 9. Either way you do it, you're going to get the same answer. So if in doubt, FOIL. But knowing the trick ahead of time, there's less work and it's quicker to do. Okay, let's take a look at number 35 now. Again, these are opposite, these are, I should say, different numbers. They're not the same, so I can't use any tricks. We just have to follow the standard rule with FOIL. So I'm going to do the first numbers. T times T is T squared. Now the outer number, T times -3 is -3T. Now we got the inner numbers, 9 times T plus 9T. And then the last number, 9 times -3 is -27. Just like before, we have to add our like terms. Here's a T, here's a T. There's no other T squared, so it's T squared. -3 plus 9 is 6T minus 27. Is this in standard form? Yes. We go from the highest exponent down to the smallest exponent down to no exponents. Let's take a look at another one. It's not listed on the page, just an example that we've seen. A plus 4 squared. Again, if in doubt, use the FOIL. But you remember those rules that we learned this week, what to do with this squared with each one of these numbers. Again, we want to square that A. So that's going to become A squared. And we know we have to square this last number, but before we do that, we know we have to multiply this power with everything inside the parentheses. So actually, you have 2 with the A and the 4. And then at the end, I have to take the 4 squared. So again, just like the other one, we square the A, the first, and we square the last. The middle, we multiply everything inside the parentheses along with the power. Then I go ahead and simplify. 2 times A times 4 is 8A plus 16. Is it in standard form? Yes. Highest exponent down to lowest exponent down to no exponent. So final answer, A squared plus 8A plus 16. Let's take a look at doing the FOIL method. That's A plus 4 and A plus 4. That's what this means up here. You have it twice. A times A squared. That's the first. The outer, A times 4, 4A. The inner, 4 times A. Fix this. And then we have the last. 4 times 4, you go on top, or probably I should go underneath. 4 times 4 is 16. Now we should have to do our like terms. Here are the like terms. A squared, 4 plus 4 is 8A. Bring down to 16. Same answer. Using FOIL. Is it in standard form? Yes. Highest exponent down to the lowest exponent, down to no exponent. Number 34. The numbers are different, so we can't use any of our tricks. We need to use the FOIL method. So looking at FOIL, we got to do our first. 4 times 3 is 12. Let's put an invisible 1 there. Because when we multiply exponents, we have n to the 3rd power, n to the 1st power. That becomes n to the 4th power because we know we have to add our exponents. Okay? Then I take my 4n times 5, the outer number. So 4 times 5 is 20, and I bring an n with it. Then I have to do my inners. 5 times 3, 15n. And then I have 5 times 5, which is 25. Now I need to add my like terms and then simplify. My like terms is here and here. So I'm going to get 12n to the 4th power plus 20 and 15 is 35n plus 25. Notice when I add like terms, the n and the n, it just stays n. When I multiply exponents, the 3 and the 1, I had to add them to get 4. Is this in standard form? Yes. Highest exponent down to the lowest exponent, down to no exponent. I'm going to give you a problem that talks about standard form again. And what you might see on your test tomorrow. If I give you this, 5x to the 3rd power minus 4x to the 5th power plus 2x to the 8th power plus 5. How do I put that in standard form? I have to look for the highest exponent, 8. That goes first. 2x to the 8th power. What's the next highest exponent? 5. Notice I'm looking at the exponents, not the number. And notice this 5 goes with that minus sign. So it's minus 4x to the 5th power. Where's my next exponent? Right here. So it is plus 5x to the 3rd power. And what's last? The number. Now this is in standard form. Okay? How do I do this problem? It's not FOIL because there's a plus sign there. All I'm doing is combining like terms. I have a negative 7x to the 3rd power, and I have a 4x to the 3rd power. So negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3x to the 3rd power. The powers stay the same. I'm just adding like terms, not multiplying, adding like terms. Now I'm looking at the next set of numbers. I have over here x squared. Are there any other x squareds? No. So I'm going to put down plus 8x squared. So don't get confused. You can cross these out knowing that you finished them and that you worked with them. What's left? Remember, standard form. Highest exponent down to the lowest exponent. If you keep that in mind, you won't lose out or get confused on what number you're doing. So, what's next? 4x. So plus 4x. Cross it out. Double check to make sure there's no other 4x's there or any other x's. What's left? Negative 3 plus 2. That is negative 1. Is this in standard form? We have highest exponent down to lowest exponent down to no exponent. If you do it this way, you won't lose out on any of the numbers, and it'll be in standard form at the end. If you do it any other way, you'll get the same answer, but then you have to move things around. So think of it as the highest exponents down to the lowest exponents. Let's take a look at this problem right now. Same type of problem, but now minus sign, which means I'm subtracting the numbers. Highest exponent to lowest. X to the fifth power, x to the fifth. 3 minus 2 is 1x to the fifth power. 4x squared minus 3x squared is 1x squared. Notice that I am subtracting them each time. So if you take one from the other and look at the sign, you will not lose any of your numbers. So it's 1x to the fifth power plus 1x to the second power. Is this in standard form? Yes. Do I have to move things around at the end? No, because I went from the highest exponent to the lowest exponent.